Thank you all for being here, and let's get into some CEDH. And real quick, thanks for helping get over 100 subs. First, we have Jarek on RogThras. I have 20 creatures, 30 cards, and no way of winning. Second, we have Marvin on Where'd My Lands Go? Peekaboo. Where'd my lands go? Peekaboo. Where'd my lands go? Peekaboo. Oh, you all died. Third, shtola control, and in fourth, Fire Lord AZULA. Can I have that? Actually, 2 please. Jarek off with an insanely fast start. He opens with a Mana Vault, Relic of Legends, Rograk, and then his commander Thrasios, before passing the turn. Marvin shocks in his land taking 2, then casts Crow Mox, imprinting Impulsive Pilfer, before casting an Exploration Broodship and passing the turn. Avery plays a fetch land, cracks it, and then passes. Max plays Emergence Zone as land for turn, casts Crow Mox, imprinting Snap, then casts Mystic Remora. Jarek takes the damage from Mana Vault, casts Cloud of Fairies, then bestows Cloud of Fairies with Springleaf Nunsuko. Question for those watching too. Should this have triggered Mystic Remora, or is Springleaf still a creature? In either case, Max did not take his draw. Jarek then plays a land for turn and pays 2 into his bestowed Cloud of Fairies to make another copy of Cloud of Fairies, untapping 2 lands. Jarek then passes the turn. Marvin plays a command tower for turn, taps 3 to cast 6, and uses 6 to station his Exploration Broodship before shipping it to Avery. Avery plays a land for turn and casts Blind Obedience, giving Max his first Mystic Remora trigger. Max draws a card, and Avery passes the turn. Max pays for his fish, draws a card, plays a land for turn, then casts Talisman of Dominance, which enters tapped because of the Blind Obedience. Max then passes the turn. Jarek takes the damage to his Mana Vault in his draw step, plays a fetch land, triggering his Springleaf. He pays the 2 and makes a copy of Cloud of Fairies. He goes and gets Tropical Island. When Tropical Island enters the battlefield, Springleaf triggers. He pays the 2 and makes another copy of Cloud of Fairies. Jarek then activates Thrasios, scrying 1 to the top, revealing Pact of Negation. Jarek then passes the turn with an untapped Mistrise Village, mana to activate it, and a Pact of Negation in hand. Marvin plays a Shifting Woodland, is land for turn, and then swings 6 at Avery. On attack, 6 mills over a Birds of Paradise. Avery takes 2, and in Marvin's second main step, he discards a land to cast the Birds of Paradise, with Retrace from 6. Marvin then passes the turn. Avery taps 2 to cast Talisman of Progress. This triggers Mystic Remora. Avery does not pay, and Max takes the draw. Avery then passes the turn. Max pays for fish, draws a card for turn, plays a land, and ships it. Jarek takes the damage to Mana Vault, draws a card for turn, plays a land, triggering Springheart Nunsuko. He pays the 2 to make another Cloud of Fairies. He then fetches. When the land he fetched for enters the battlefield, Springleaf Nunsuko triggers. He pays the 2 and makes another copy of Cloud of Fairies. Jarek then passes the turn. Marvin untaps and draws. He heads into combat and swings 6 at Avery. Marvin doesn't mill any permanents that he can retrace, and then he taps 5 to cast Korvald. When Korvald enters the battlefield, Marvin sacrifices Birds of Paradise. This triggers Korvald to get a 1/1 counter and draw a card. Marvin plays a land for turn and cracks it to go get a basic. This triggers Korvald. Korvald gets a 1/1 counter and Marvin draws a card. Marvin uses the forest he fetched for to cast Ignoble Hierarch. Marvin then passes the turn. Shtola taps 4 to cast her commander, Shtola, Knight's Blast. Avery then passes the turn. However, in her end step, Max fires off a Consider. He decides to keep the top card on top of his library and draw that card. He then fires off a Vampiric Tutor. In response to the Vampiric Tutor, Jarek shoots off Flusterstorm, countering Vampiric Tutor. Max untaps and lets his fish go. Max casts Tainted Pact with the intent of getting a Rhystic Study. Jarek, however, counters it with a Pact of Negation. Max then casts his commander, Firelord AZULA, and passes the turn. In Max's end step, Jarek activates Thrasios, putting an Ancient Tomb onto the battlefield tapped. Jarek untaps, pays for his Pact of Negation trigger, draws a card, casts Springleaf Drum, and then passes the turn. Marvin casts an Imperial Seal. Jarek responds by activating Thrasios. He reveals a Deflecting Swat and puts it in hand. Imperial Seal then resolves. Marvin then taps his commander to put 6 counters on his Exploration Broodship, allowing Marvin to sacrifice a land to cast a permanent from his graveyard sometime this turn. He then near immediately sacrifices a land to cast Underworld Breach from his graveyard. This triggers Korvald to get a 1/1 counter and draw a card. Marvin then casts Culling the Weak, sacrificing his Hierarch to add 5 black mana. This also triggers Korvald, so Korvald gets a little bigger, and Marvin draws a card. Marvin then casts Aftermath Analyst, and if that weren't bad enough, he then casts Squandered Resources. Using Squandered Resources, he sacrifices 3 lands, getting him 3 Korvald triggers and 3 cards. After that, he sacrifices his Aftermath Analyst to return all lands from his graveyard to the battlefield tapped. On the sacrifice, Korvald triggers, and Marvin draws another card. Marvin sacrifices 4 lands, triggering Korvald 4 times. Marvin then casts Ice-Till Explorer. He then uses Ice-Till Explorer to play a fetch land from his graveyard. This triggers Ice-Till Explorer, and he mills a card. He then casts Nissa. Then he uses his Shifting Woodlands to become a copy of Aftermath Analyst. He activates Aftermath Analysts, returning all his lands from his graveyard to the battlefield. He then casts Eldritch Evolution, sacrificing his 4-drop to go get Lumbra. Marvin shows that with Nissa, Squandered Resources, and Shifting Woodlands, he is able to make infinite mana. Then, with infinite mana, he continues sacrificing stuff to his commander and drawing cards, until he gets these 3 cards. Dosen stops any interaction. Technomancer kills Korvald so that he doesn't draw himself out, and then he uses Mayhem Devil to ping the table and win the game. If you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure to leave a like and a sub. The next goal is 200 subscribers. Anyway, thanks for being here, and have a wonderful day. See ya!